So I'm not really a big fan of puzzles. Like, I've never really liked the idea of putting together a puzzle. I've also never really been a big fan of word searches or crossword puzzles. It's just never been my cup of tea. Now, I would say when I was a kid, the one exception that I did like when it came to puzzles were the connect the dots. When I was a kid, I did like to connect the dots because you always knew that once you finished connecting all the dots, you were going to uncover some type of image. Now, the connect the dot that I have projected right now is pretty simple. You can already pretty much figure out what this will be before you even connect all the dots. The same with this one. While it may be a little more challenging, you still have a general idea of what it may be based on looking at the picture. Now, this one is a lot more challenging. You can kind of see what it may be, but it's no guarantee that what you think you're seeing is what it really is. On top of that, there's a lot of dots that you have to connect. And then when you get to one like this, there's a lot of dots to connect, and you can't look at this and tell what this image is going to be. So let's say I print out a copy of each of these connect the dot puzzles. I randomly hand out copies to everyone throughout the room. Now we have lunch in about 30 minutes, and everybody's going to be able to go to lunch. What if I said everybody who completes their connect the dot puzzle in the next 30 minutes gets to have a 2-hour lunch? Everybody who doesn't gets the standard 30-minute lunch. No one really should be able to complain because everybody's getting a lunch and everybody's having an opportunity to get a 2-hour lunch. But based on the look on some of your faces, there's a problem with this. Maybe it's because those of you that have this puzzle think you have no shot at earning the 2-hour lunch because it's relatively impossible to complete. Those of you that have this puzzle are hoping that I'm serious because you've already mentally completed this puzzle. You don't need 30 minutes, you need 30 seconds. I think we all can agree that the easier puzzle you have, the more of an advantage that you have. We also all can agree that the more challenging puzzle that you have, the more of a disadvantage that you have. Especially since nobody in this room did anything special to get an easier puzzle, other than to just be sitting in the right seat at the right time. Just like nobody did anything wrong to get a harder puzzle other than being in the wrong seat at the wrong time. These puzzles represent every student that walks into our classroom. They have all been handed different connect the dots when it comes to life. Some have a much easier puzzle with less dots to connect, and some have extremely challenging puzzles with a lot of dots that they have to connect. The reality is no matter what puzzle they receive, we still have to help them connect the dots. In real-world application, connecting of the dots does not come from the teaching of content. It comes from the context in which we teach the content. What you have to do is sell each student on what's in it for them. The easier life puzzle they were handed, the less selling that you have to do. The more challenging life puzzle they were handed, the more selling that you have to do. The way you'll be able to develop that context in order to sell your audience is to know your audience. These weekly classroom circles provide you a weekly focus group to understand the needs of your audience. By allowing your students to provide you with insight into their lives, that can only make you a better teacher if you're willing to take advantage of that insight. What I mean by that is we have to take advantage of the insight that they give us to help them, not to hold against them. Because we shouldn't hold it against those that have easier puzzles either. They're also just working with the puzzle that was handed to them. And while to us it may look easier, their challenge is their challenge. But we need to allow them to provide us with insight into what their challenges are too. By intentionally taking the time weekly to learn about your students, you are setting them up to be successful for whatever puzzle is in front of them.